What's going on? So I just got a call from a woman who is interested in our like SEO and marketing services. And the reason why she's interested is because they're currently using Angie's List and Home Advisor, and I think they're also using Thumbtack, and they're using a myriad of these lead selling companies. They're buying leads from these companies. And she says that she feels like she's banging her head against the wall, calling these people and barely getting any jobs out of it. And she said the only ones she has a chance at are the ones that call or that come in late at night, like 11 at night, because everyone else is asleep and she's the only one calling them at that time. Otherwise, these people are getting calls from all sorts of people. So she did her homework, and she thinks that investing in search engine optimization, SEO, and their website is the best way forward so that they can get away from buying leads and generate more leads organically. But it's not all her decision to make. There's another decision maker, and this person is interested in short-term gains. They're interested in instant gratification, and that's why they like these Angi Leads and stuff like that, because they can put money in and get calls out immediately. They're basically buying contact information. They're buying these phone calls. But she's the one that calls them, and so she's the one that is aware that they're not very, the ROI is not very good on them. They're not making very much money off of these leads, and they're spending tons of time on them. So I think she's on the right track, and she asked me for advice. How can I convince this person that it's the right move? And this is how I think of it. Basically, there's two hangups that I can see. One might be that they don't believe SEO is going to work. So if they don't believe it's going to work, then it's obvious why they would be hesitant to invest money in it. The other reason is that they really are thinking short term. If I was only planning on being in business for 2 months, I wouldn't want to invest in a long-term strategy like SEO. But if I was planning on being in business a year from now, then SEO is an obvious choice, because in the long term, SEO is going to provide the biggest ROI, the biggest bang for my buck. So she asked, how can I convince him that this is the right move? And I told her that it's all in the numbers. You need to figure out what the numbers are. How much are you spending on these leads? How many leads actually turn into phone calls? How many phone calls actually turn into estimates? And then how many of those estimates turn into customers? If you can calculate all this stuff and you can figure out how much money you're spending on it and how much time you're spending on it, then you can see the details and you can measure it. And then you can consider alternative methods of getting these leads, getting these customers, and be able to decide if it's a good idea or not. If you don't know these numbers, then there's not really any way you can make any data-driven decisions about what to do with your business. So we're going to take a look at Angi Leads, and I'm just going to run you through real quick how I would do this on the fly. So let's take a look at this. All right, so we're inside Angi's Leads. I'm in the Lead Center. If you log in, you go to Lead Center up here. There'll be a little button on the right top, and you click on that to export leads. Now this is going to produce a spreadsheet, okay? I'll just leave it at last 3 months, and I'll press export. Once I press export, I can open the spreadsheet up and I can see the leads that were purchased. Now I deleted most of the leads that were in here because for the sake of this demonstration, you don't need to see hundreds of leads. 10 is fine. What I'm going to do to these 10, you're going to want to do to however many you're trying to measure. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight columns H through N, and I'm just going to delete them. We don't really need that information right now. Hopefully you're keeping track of this stuff somewhere. Otherwise, you're going to have to dig for this information. But what we're going to do first is we're going to add a column to the right side of lead fee, and we're just going to copy these over because they put this little symbol in here and it makes it impossible to use functions and math to add this stuff up. The benefit of using a spreadsheet is that we can actually use functions and speed this stuff up. So I'm just quickly going to copy these over. All right, so now that those are copied over, I'm gonna highlight a cell down here. I'm gonna press equals average, and I'm in Google Sheets. It's automatically gonna select these, but if it didn't, I would click on one cell and then highlight all of them. So average, whoops, you have to do equals average, parenthesis, and then select these cells. I'm holding shift to click and select all of these. All right, so the average that we're paying per lead is $30.43. That's good to know, okay? Next, we're gonna go through here and let's just say contacted, and the next one we'll say estimate, and then the next one we'll do sale, and then we'll do amount at the end. So for the sake of this demonstration, let's just say that half of these people I actually was able to contact. Your numbers are gonna be completely different. Let's say that of these 5 people that I actually was able to contact, we did estimates for 3 of them, and then one of those estimates became a sale. And let's just say that that sale was for $1,000 and the profit was $500, okay? So this last column here is 500. Okay, so now we can see we got 5 contacts, okay? So since only half of them, oh, you know what? I deleted. So there's 9 of them, not 10. It doesn't really matter. So let's just add another one because 10 is a much easier number. Okay, so let's say that half of them actually became, that we were actually able to reach half of them. That means that for every 2 leads we buy, we're getting 1 phone conversation. So that means we're spending about $61 per phone conversation. Since there was 3 estimates, I'm gonna break out my calculator because I'm not that great at math. Okay, so if we spent, what was the total of spend here? For that, we can do equals sum. It's gonna automatically highlight all that. Boom. Okay, so we spent $273. We'll just round it up to 274. 274 divided by 3, that's $91.33. So we're spending $91.33 per estimate that we give out. And since we got 1 sale, that means we're spending $273.88 to get a sale. We're gonna take the profit, so we'll do equals that one minus that one. Our profit on this would have been, or our revenue after we bought this lead, all these leads and stuff, is $726. And our profit is equals this one minus this one. Okay, so our profit was $226.12. So at the end of the day, after we calculate all this information, we bought 10 leads, we contacted 5, we did 3 estimates, and we made 1 sale. We paid Home Advisor $274 for this, and after that 1 job we did, out of the $500 profit, we have $226.12. Now, your business might be slightly different than this. It depends on how you calculate profit. But the rest of it is going to be the same. If you can calculate all of this stuff, you can figure out exactly how much you're paying and how much you're making at the end of the day. And that's really what matters most. Maybe you'll be happy with the numbers you find and you don't need to change anything. Maybe you'll at least understand enough to seek out other alternatives and be able to decide if those alternatives are worth pursuing. Now, I can tell you from experience that organic leads, people that actually find you through your website, find you on Google Maps, they are going to be a lot higher quality, meaning that if you got 10 leads from your website, you're more likely going to be able to talk to most of them. You know, we talk to pretty much everybody that comes to our website. Let's just call it 80%. And since these people are a lot more serious, they've already vetted us, a lot more of them become estimates. But, there's still a few that maybe they're just seeking information, or you talk to them enough to understand that, maybe they can't afford it, or they're not the kind of client you want. So not all of those are going to become estimates usually. And since these people were a lot more serious to begin with, and you're not automatically competing with a bunch of other contractors like you are with Angi Leads, more of these are going to turn into sales. And so, that makes all of these numbers go up. And at the end of the day, it just becomes a lot more profitable. So, if you're using Angi Leads, or really no matter what you're using for marketing, you can do something like this. And you should be tracking all the leads that come in, how many you're able to contact, how many estimates you actually do, maybe calculate how much time you spend on those estimates, and then how many estimates actually turn into paying customers. When you have all that information, you'll be prepared to make a lot smarter decisions for your business.